Hi, I'm Sarah Graves, and I will be presenting my final exam speech. The first question was, who was the most improved speaker over this semester? In my opinion, I thought Earl Autry was the most improved. In his first speech, he was sitting down and really didn't have the speech memorized that well, and I thought that from the first speech to his last speech, he showed the most improvement. In his last speech, he was standing, looking very professional, and used note cards. He made a good eye contact and made excellent points. I think this influenced my idea of speaking and the fact that a good speaker wasn't always the best speaker. With some work and effort, one can become a better speaker within a short amount of time. I think this helped me with the fact that I was very reluctant about my first presentation, but throughout this course, I found myself to be more comfortable with presenting each speech. He definitely made a major improvement in speaking, and this motivated me to continue to improve. So good job, Earl. The second question was, who had the best research this summer? In my view, Gabriella Gaudier had the best research speeches throughout the summer. Not only did she take time to memorize every speech, but she filled it with facts. She gave specific facts and statistics about her topics. Her first topic was on Park Güell in Spain. As she gave detailed facts about the famous mosaic pieces, not only did she present all the information about the pieces, she gave us a historical background behind it. I learned a lot from the historical background, as it was interesting to know, and I learned things that I never learned from school. In her second speech about the death penalty, she introduced the audience to a story about a guy who went through the same situation himself. By doing this, it shows not only did she research a topic, but found out a story about a guy who experienced being on death row on a wrongful conviction. The story makes the topic more relatable to the audience, and from these two speeches, she seems confident in the information she provides, which makes it more believable. So good job, Gabriella. The third question was, who had the best style this summer? In my view, Cody Kopastick had the best style because he knew how to pull in the audience and make it interesting. In his informative speech, he starts off speaking Spanish in order to introduce his topic on Spanish culture. In his persuasive speech, he talks about a personal experience and how he spent time in an animal shelter about the topic on animal euthanasia. He did use notes in the first speech, but still maintained good eye contact throughout. His last speech was memorized, and he used great hand gestures which complemented his words and enhanced his speech tremendously. He was always one of the most memorable speeches for this reason. Ever since the intro when he was in his Bucks jersey, I always remembered his speeches. Not only because of his topics, but because of the way he presented the information. Good job, Cody. Lastly, number 4, how did you perform this semester? During this class, I feel like I've improved in my public speaking ability a lot. For my first speech, I was very hesitant about doing it, as I was way out of my comfort zone. But by the last speech, I felt a little bit more comfortable, and I know I still have a long way to go, but I felt that I saw a major improvement from where I started. In my first intro speech, I was very hesitant and didn't really take it seriously. I was dressed in workout clothes and I made a lot of corny jokes. In the second speech, it was a little bit more serious, but I felt like I still had fun with it. I find that when you use humor in a speech, it grabs attention in the audience, and that's one technique I think that I was good at this semester. In my last speech, I thought that I felt more comfortable and more relaxed. I tend to fumble with words because I want it to be perfect, and I want it all to flow together. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. But I think that's what tripped me up a lot. I feel like if I would have practiced my speeches more and didn't read from the pages, it would have been way more effective. I feel like when I was unsure about my words, I focused more on that than the actual giving the speech. And the most difficult part for this class for me was definitely finding an audience. I live 3 hours away from school, so that wasn't really an option. I didn't really have accessibility to many people. I did have to bribe my grandparents to come over and my dad's coworkers to listen. But for me, this put a lot of extra pressure on me, and I felt that my speeches had to be more interesting, so maybe it helped. This course has taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot of techniques that I will use later in the future. I come from a long line of public speakers. My grandpa was a preacher, and my dad is a trial lawyer, so I had their help as well. This class is difficult online, and I think that I would see more of an improvement if I was actually to go to a class. I feel like the feedback from the students were all very good and supportive, though. I was really kind of afraid at first when we had a comment on everyone's video. I was afraid of what people would comment on mine. But for the most part, they were all very helpful, and it was very good constructive criticism. They would say one thing negative, but then they would make me feel really good about all the things that I did positive. Overall, I really enjoyed this class, and I feel like most people would feel this way. I will say that the teacher was very accommodating to everyone's needs. He always responded to all my emails and got back to me as fast as he could. He gladly postponed assignments due to majority of students needing extra assistance. I will say that if it wasn't for him keeping on top of things, this class could have been a very big struggle for me. But he made it more realistic to handle. I would recommend this class if someone asked about it because of the positive experience I have gained from this class. So thank you. I had a great semester. It was great learning about public speaking, and I feel like I'm a better person for it.